Welcome to BARI Banter, where we talk everything bariatric surgery with the people that know it best, the patients. I'm Shannon, and I'm here with my co-hostess with the mostest,
Lita. So sit back, relax, and remember, sip, sip, sip.
Well, it's kind of a little bit of a special day. Not today, because the day we're recording obviously isn't the day this is going to come out, but the day this comes out, it's going to be a special day. And I have a special song just for it.
Shannon.
Shannon, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
What even is
I
that?
don't even know. I don't
did you
even know I
get
found
from?
that. It's hilarious. So I listened to it and I was like, yes. It's like cute.
Yeah, I think it's the
Funny.
Chipmunks.
Makes me smile.
How old are you turning? 3?
21
21.
for the 12th time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 12th time. So yeah, super excited to get older by another year. But yeah, I feel pretty young.
Yeah, but we discussed this in a few podcasts last year that, you know, this year we're not turning 33. We're turning 32 because
2020
last year didn't count. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm happy to take whatever years I can get, you know. It just seems like that just keeps clicking over and I'm just like, just slow down a bit. Like, let's just take a second, just chill out. Not ready to be 33. I do like the number.
It's a nice round number.
Good for my OCD.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So how's your week been anyway?
Yeah, not too bad. Back at work again now, which has been a bit of
And you
fun.
went camping in your front
I
parents' front
did,
yard? That was
yeah.
quite cool.
Auntie of the year over here.
Yeah.
You know, fed them all up with sugar and then made them pass it
Yeah.
out in a swag with me. It was great. Yeah,
Sounds entertaining.
got rained on. It was
What
fun.
could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, no, it was all good. How about you? How was your week?
Well, good. So Bella had an operation. Tumor is out, waiting on the results to see if it was stage 1, 2, or 3. So that's kind of like where I'm at. I'm not going back to Instagram and stuff just because I just want to kind of get myself in the right spot, just in case. You know, fingers crossed it just comes back to stage 1. She's all clear. She can go back to just being like, she seems fine, but she's a bit special. Put Bella in a cone, and for some reason she just has no
spatial
grasp.
awareness.
Like, she just spends all day grinding against my leg trying to get the cone to. I don't know if she knows my leg's there, but yeah, she's just special. All
She
kinds
takes
special.
after her.
Definitely my child.
Yeah,
Yeah,
takes
definitely
after her
my
owner.
my puppy child. Yeah. But yeah, apart from that, fantastic. Mentally doing really good.
Yep.
Keep getting cold sores. My thing is like when I get stressed, I get cold sores. So like I've had like 3 in the last week.
I feel like we need to zoom in on it for those who are
Can
watching
you
on.
not? Point to my face. I'm sure it's very obvious, the big thing right in the middle of my face. But yeah, we won't bring attention to that.
Everybody, it's on his top lip.
yeah,
It's,
thanks. Okay.
That's why he's still got his
Well,
moustache on.
let's stop talking about my cold sore. And today we have a very special guest that we're going to bring on. We like to every now and then. There's different journeys, and I think it's very important to have all parts of journeys. Whether, you know, it's gone amazing or little like issues here or there,
hiccups
like
here or there.
you know, because I do believe like even if you have the issues, they're the ones that come through it the strongest and probably appreciate everything a little bit more. So that's why, you know, tonight's guest is someone who hasn't had the most seamless journey, but
it's only just starting out too, really.
it is. Well,
Yeah.
before we give away too much, I reckon we should just get her up,
Sure.
have a chat, and yeah, try and break it down because there's a lot to unpack.
There is.
She's had a very interesting year, and yeah.
Well, tonight's guest, she's part of the 1%. She's had her first surgery back in February 2020, not even a year ago. And since then, she's had a further 3 surgeries to try and correct a few issues that she's facing. Her heaviest weight was 150 kilos, and she's sitting at around the 80 kilo mark, which is absolutely amazing considering everything that you've gone through. You're definitely fighting and you're an absolute inspiration to so many. Please welcome Tilly Rose, also known as Reginald Jones, on Instagram. Hey, lovely.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi,
Tilly.
everybody.
Thank
Good
you
evening.
first off for sitting down with us. I hadn't actually seen your process, and once I kind of like I read the questionnaire that you put down, and I was just like, whoa, like, wow, there is so much. You've had a very interesting year. And I honestly do appreciate you sitting down and opening up and talking to us about it because it is part of, unfortunately, it is part of bariatric surgery. This is the risk involved.
Exactly right.
It can happen. And I think it's really important for people to get both sides of the stories because I think sometimes, you know, you see the sunshine and, you know, rainbows and all that. And you've got to understand that there is this risk. And talking to someone like you is going to be really, really good. So first off, I guess we just go through and we just break it down surgery by surgery, what the surgery was to try and correct. I think that's going to give us the best idea of the year you've had.
So start off with February. Yeah, February 2020, and let us go from the start.
Feb, we had a mini gastric bypass. So surgeon went in. None of us knew. Mum and Dad didn't know, and I didn't know. But I have partially malrotated intestine. So surgeon tried to sort of accommodate that in a sense, and did a bit of twigging where he shouldn't have, which led me to having a twisted bowel and a kink stomach from February until May. And I wasn't able to eat or drink properly. And I was a new baby grad nurse at this stage as well. So I was working as a new grad nurse and having all this pain, but just wasn't being controlled. So we eventually went back to see him after the third ED admission. And he put me in, and I was on the table for 4 hours, and he come out and said, yeah, you know, like we had the twisted bowel, so we had to cut that out. Had a bit of kink stomach and fix that up. So he redid the mini gastric bypass. He also did he removed my gallbladder at the same time. So that was the second surgery. So I'd lost, I think, about 15 centimeters of small bowel out of that surgery alone. And then that was in May. At the end of May, I ended up getting a kidney stone, which is common after bariatric surgery. Fun time. That wasn't fun. Very painful.
Just trying to pass
10 out of 10 wouldn't recommend them. And then about 3 weeks post-op, I was in excruciating pain again, and we just couldn't work out what it was. So we went back in for more surgery. And he converted me to a full roux, got rid of what he fixed up inside of me. So I lost, again, I think another 15 to 20 centimeters of small bowel. So at this stage, I've lost anywhere from 30 to 40 centimeters of small bowel between surgery 1 to 3. And he found a small pinhead-sized gastric ulcer in my small bowel just past the anastomosis connection. We tried to treat it with Nexium, your PPIs, your proton pump inhibitors, which are your anti-reflux meds. And it didn't work. On the 15th of July, I was admitted to hospital, which was my big stint and which caused me to have all these issues that I'm having now. The ulcer just kept growing, and we did an endoscopy, and it was about 2 by 2 centimeters with a blood clot on it. So we got rid of the clot and clamped the ulcer and treated it really, really, really strongly with like high doses of PPIs to see if it would kill it. But it wasn't working. I just kept having so much pain. Like I was bedbound most of the time in hospital, bedbound with this pain. And he referred me to Brisbane to see the Brisbane team. And Brisbane team took me on, and a week later I had my 4th surgery. And then again, I got lost about 15 centimeters of small bowel, and they reverted me back to a gastric sleeve, but it's not a gastric sleeve.
Okay.
It's a bit complicated.
How much of your small bowel do you, like a normal sized bowel, do you know how much there is? Because you've just said that you've lost about 45.
Someone can have anywhere from like 3 to 8 meters of small bowel.
Well,
You can have a fair bit of small bowel. I've lost almost, I think, a meter of small bowel.
So you started off with a mini bypass. Was that? Yeah. And then you went back in to get the bowel fixed up. Yeah. And then you got your gallbladder out at the same time, which your gallbladder that's a very common thing by the sounds of it. Like a lot of people's in it. And then you went back in and you got
Roux-en-Y.
So R&Y.
Roux-en-Y is a different form of bypass, as far as I know.
It's a big bypass.
Yeah.
It's a massive bypass compared to a mini gastric bypass. So a Mesoloop is the mini, and the Roux-en-Y is the big bypass, where you bypass a lot more bowel and things like that. Yeah.
And then you went back in and have gone back to a sleeve.
But that would mean you'd still have the same pouch set up as the bypass, but they've just taken away the part of the stomach that would just have been off to the side, got rid of and that's, obviously got rid of the
all
ghrelin.
Reconnected. It's all reconnected, but I only have like about less than 100 ml size pouch for a stomach.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
crazy. That's a lot. And then do you feel like the issues way of like physical have, you know, settled, or do you still feel like
I was
it's
going to say, are you still fighting it, or is it sort of subsided a little bit
Well,
now?
because I left hospital with an eating disorder. So we're working on that, which is why I've got the feeding tube in, is because when food hits my pouch, it exacerbates the pain that I've already got. And so they don't know why. They think I have nerve damage. So I'm on nerve blocking pain medication to try and help with that so that I can function and eat as a normal adult. But
yes.
I tend to avoid my food intake, and I'm on artificial feeds overnight.
Because you would not have that urge to eat anyway, because I know what it was like when I first had the sleeve.
And it's like a flip switch.
Yeah.
There's just no interest there at all.
You've also got the added thing of you're in pain, like, you know, it's kind of putting you in pain when you do eat. Like, you know, I remember having to remind myself constantly when I first had the sleeve to eat. Then, you know, you've got that added extra little bit to kind of, so it'd be really hard to kind of push yourself to have that food and get that nutrition in, which is, it's almost a forced eating disorder.
Yeah, it is. And one of my surgical teams has come around and said it is like medically induced PTSD that I've walked out with as well, because of how traumatic it has been this past 8 months or so. So it hasn't been fun. The forced eating, yes. In hospital, they were trying to get me to eat, and because of the pain and being exacerbated all the time when I would eat, I ended up not eating, and they ended up having to put a tube in. This is my 6th nasovaginal tube. So this tube actually goes into my small bowel.
Wow.
And it's number 6.
And that's a feeding tube. So that's getting
That's
you.
a feeding tube.
Yeah.
So is that pretty much just giving you essentially all the nutrients that you're not getting because you're not physically eating?
Yeah. I eat some things. It's common for people that have eating disorders to eat and drink cold and unflavored, empty calories that are fillers, so that they don't have to eat essentially because their stomach is full.
Yeah, so eat smaller, more filling.
Yeah, like carbonated soft drinks like Mothers and Coke, because it's bubbly, so the stomach is essentially full, so not hungry.
Wow.
That's true.
So have you had your bloods and stuff done? Are they kind of...
Quite frequently. I ended up back in hospital in September again, and I had a chest infection, but they had come across 2 septic collections within inside me. Yeah, so it hasn't been a fun run. I've been on antibiotics, so I have bloods done every fortnight just to check to ensure that my infection markers are low and that the antibiotics are working.
Wow.
So prior to surgery, was this a concern of yours that this might happen, or is this something you just didn't even think of? And
well, I had weight loss surgery back in 2014. I had gastric sleeve back in 2014 when I was 21, just almost turning 22.
Yeah, because that's what you said had to have the sleeve redone. I was kind of like trying to, because you said that when you had the sleeve redone last off, I was like, oh, okay, so that makes sense. So you had it originally done.
Originally had a sleeve, and everything was perfect. There was no bad runs or anything like that. And then come this year, and last year, and it's just been bang, bang, bang. It's just been
Wow.
a fun roller coaster ride.
So when you originally had the sleeve, how was your process back then when you had the...
Perfect. My run was so smooth. I got into gym at 6 weeks post-op. I was eating protein. I was, doing everything right and training, and I felt good, and like I had muscle mass and things like that. And then I fell pregnant with my son, which is what made me gain the weight.
Gotcha.
I had a really good run with my first off.
Yeah.
My original off.
Yeah.
And then last year it's just been, I'm just part of that 1%, and I keep saying it. It's just that 1%.
It is, unfortunately.
It is,
It's a part of it. It's, the statistics are statistics because they happen, unfortunately. And it's just unlucky, unfortunate that it was, happened to you. But you seemed like you've really still working through it. And I think you've taken a really good mentality towards it, and you kind of taking it one step at a time. Even when I was reading your questions and stuff like that, you were kind of like, these are the cards I'm dealt. I'm just going to play them. Yeah. You know, you're not playing, you know, the super poor me. That's it. You know, I'm going to sit on the sidelines and, you know, just let it run its course.
I'm trying not to. It's so hard. I want to just, you know, get up, dust my knees and walk away and be like, you're right, Phil, you got this. Come on, let's do it. It is hard. It is hard process, but I just don't want to be that, oh my God, woe me. I'm this and that. I don't want to do that.
Especially being a mother of two as well, though. Like it's not just yourself that you've got to think about as well. So it's not like you can just hide in a room and be like, "Poor me, this sucks." Like you have to get on with life, and you have to be there for your kids. And
so when you had the original sleeve when you were 21, how much weight did you lose back then?
I was 150 kilos back then. I'd lost 60 kilos. I got down to 82 kilos.
82, and then you had your second child. And then you just that kind
I regained back to 130 kilos. And so I've gone from 130 to anywhere from 85 to 89, depending on fluid retention and things like that, and how much feed I have.
And your bowel issues, which is what you were saying, is sort of like what I guess you could say triggered all of this to sort of happen. Is that something that has started like between your first surgery and this one, or is it something that's always been there but wasn't detected? Or... Yeah,
it's always been there and was never detected. None of us knew it was. It was just surgeon come out and goes, oh, by the way, you know, you've got a partially malrotated small bowel. And we're all like, oh, we didn't know that. Like, there was just nothing. It was just, just a shock. So he goes, you know, I accommodated you by doing a certain procedure. And then my surgeon has admitted that he shouldn't have done that in the first place.
Yeah.
And so he's tried to help as much as he can in a sense to try and fix me so that I'm okay.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things. Once you slice into the pie, you can't put that slice back in. You know, it's kind of just, you know, trying to work around what the situation that he's left with, I guess, and, you know, you're left with and having to pick up the pieces. Have the people around you been quite supportive of you going through this?
Oh, definitely. My parents and my brother have been massive supporters. They've, especially my mum. My mum's been the one to mainly look after my kids while I've been in the hospital. So she works as well. So she's had to work and pick and drop the kids off and pick them up and feed them and mother them while I'm in hospital.
And do your kids understand what you're going through? How old are your kids?
My daughter's 11 and my son's 4. My daughter knows more about it more so than my son, but we try and, you know, questions pop up, especially being a curious 4-year-old and wondering why I have all these lines on my abdomen.
And does he ask you about the feeding tube as well? Like he knows
it's to feed mummy and to help mummy.
Yeah. Wow, God, that would be such a hard process as well, just to try and explain it all to your kids and
especially kids, because you know we know what the kids are like. They're not ones to be like, you know, I'm just not going to look at that or mention anything about that. They're going to be like, what's that line about? What's that about?
Yeah.
What's that about?
And we get that question every day at kindy drop off and pick up.
Yeah.
And and it's always just, you know, it's just in my tummy to help me feed me. And it obviously not something that you can hide.
Yeah.
It's right in your face, literally. It is in your face.
That was like my 4-year-old niece, bless her. She asked me last time, because they live in Sydney, last time they were up, I went into the pool with them and she turns around and she goes, why have you got white tiger stripes on your belly? And I was like, that's so
kids
cute.
The truth tellers, you know, they'll tell it how it is.
But obviously, mentally, this has probably been an extremely tough journey for you as well. How have you been kind of coping mentally with it all?
I'm under a psychiatric team, eventually. It should have started back with May surgery, but it has only started since I've essentially left hospital. So I see a psychiatrist, but then I'm also under public health for psychology. So I see a psychologist as well as a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist is the lead clinical eating disorder psychiatrist. So I've got like the best of the best with him.
Yeah.
And then the psychologist I've got through public health has been amazing as well. It's been very helpful, using handy hints and tips and things like that, just to help me get through everything.
Yeah, so you've gone through public health. So your private health cover didn't cover?
No, I went private for everything, but we just applied for public mental health services to see if I could get in there.
Yeah.
I was partially turned away just because there's just not enough support for people with eating disorders out here in the Western Downs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you live remote, don't you? You're not living in metropolitan. Like you're in like this tiny little country town in the middle of.
A little rural town, an hour away from the city. Oh well, partial city, I should say. So I'm just turning into a mini Brisbane, but yeah.
Yeah. I think it's something you need to, like, you'd have to really stay on top of, because it can, you know what it's like. When one thing after another, mental health is one thing that takes absolute pounding. And sometimes you just pretend and push it aside, and then it just kind of bubbles up. And before you know it, you're sitting in a corner, like sitting in the bottom of the shower crying, It's something you would definitely have to pay attention to, especially being a mother, because I do say this all the time. Mothers seem to be the ones that do it the most. And I know my mum does it tenfold, where you put yourself second. Once you have those kids.
I still do it. I still I have a negative aspect of myself just because of what I've been through. I don't blame myself essentially, but I don't have a positive aspect within myself. It's all negative, which is what we're working on. Is I don't support myself. I put myself second and ensure everyone else is happy and healthy and okay. And I'd rather be left in a corner to just try and deal with it.
That's such a
which
mum
is a
thing.
hard thing.
That is such a mum thing, because it's kind of like when you have those children, it's like you put yourself second, and that's part of being a great mother. But it's also like you got to understand you should come first. The better you are as a mother, the happier you are within yourself, the better mother you're going to be in the end as well.
I don't know how you do it. I'm just sitting here at the moment. I just yawned because I spent one night with 2 kids last night and I'm ruined. So I can't even imagine how you guys do it on a daily basis, and then not even to mention what you're going through on top of that too. Like, oh my gosh, you are one heck of a woman.
I think you just you pick yourself up and you keep going. Otherwise, if you stop, everything stops and everything goes downhill. And I don't want that, and I can't afford to do that. It's been expensive as it is, and I just can't afford to just stop and let myself go. Otherwise, it's just a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah.
Are you an emotional person? I feel like if this was me, I would just be in the corner crying the whole time. Like not because of your situation, but just talking about it. Like I feel like, is it an emotional thing to talk about?
It can be. It depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to my surgeon, and if we get really into discussing what happened, I do get emotional with him.
Yeah.
My trauma surgeon. I do cry in front of my psychologist, which is hard to admit, but yes, I do cry in front of him, just because I'm accepting that it wasn't my fault what happened.
No, 100%. That's one definite thing. Yeah. It's definitely not your fault. You're just playing the cards you dealt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the position you're in, you've got a grasp on? Like, do you feel like...
Definitely. For my nursing practice, I feel like I have a grasp on, especially with feeding tubes and ulcer pains and having abdominal surgery and weight loss surgery. If I were to ever work on a surgical ward and someone's got to have a feeding tube put in because of issues, I'll be like, hey, I know what you're going through. I'll show you my story. I'll tell you my story if you want to listen to it. Like I would love to just put it into practice when I can eventually get back to work, because I want to know.
100%. I think that's, you just hit the nail on the head, and that's the mindset I think you need to take out of this. The lessons you are learning throughout this, whether it's about feeding tubes or whether it's about coping, whether it's about, chronic pain, whether it's about your body, you're becoming, you know more about this whole situation than probably most of us, which is knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Whether it's this situation or whether it's the world. I feel like that's the thing you definitely need to take away from it. I think that you saying that tells me that's the exact attitude you're taking towards it as well. So, yeah, well done.
Goals going into having your mini bypass that you had in February? The goals that you had going in there. What were some of your goals that you had, going in thinking that you were just going to come out the other side and it was just going to be happy as Larry? What were some of your big goals that you had?
I just wanted to be healthy and be able to run around with my 4-year-old. He's got so much energy. Like, you need a USB to plug into him somewhere to just tag some of that energy. And that's what I wanted. I just wanted to be small and to not have to huff and puff for my 4-year-old. My mum had gastric sleeve in October, and she's textbook perfect, beautiful, doing so well, amazing. And then you get me, and I'm like, don't even look at me, don't even worry about me. I'm totally different ballpark.
Yeah, but you'll come through the other side. Like it's tough times don't last, tough people do, and you're the emphasis on that.
Yeah. And that's it. And we're hopefully actually trying to get the tube removed in about 2 weeks' time. We're possibly getting it removed, depending on how I am nutritional-wise.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
it would be pretty, sitting down with psychologists and stuff like that would be kind of part of your program going forward now, won't it? Like, it'll be something you're going to have to really work on. Because I know, I had a pretty textbook whole procedure, and I still have to gauge and check myself. So, definitely with your situation where it's been emphasized, you would have to check yourself. You'd have to have someone to check you and make sure you're staying on track, eating properly, because the last thing you want to do is go from one end of the spectrum to the other, with the eating disorder.
My eating disorder I call her Patricia.
I laughed so much when I read that in your forms. It was the best.
Have you seen the movie Split with James McAvoy? And he's got like the multiple personalities.
Oh, yes.
Well, one of his personalities was Patricia. And in a part of it, he goes, that wasn't me, that was Patricia. In regards to something. Yeah, so that's why
I'm going to do that from now on. I'm going to use that as I didn't break that. It was Patricia. Who's Patricia? My alter ego, also known as me. I like that. That's really cute.
But so obviously, like when you were saying your initial goal was to just get fit and healthy and be able to run around with your kids, I'm guessing that's still the ultimate goal.
It is still the ultimate goal, to be able to jump on a trampoline and not be exhausted after 5 seconds of jumping on a trampoline. Like, that stuff takes it out of you. Oh my God. And when you don't have that nutritional background, you're like, oh crap, you feel like you've just run a marathon, which I know both of you guys have run marathons and done triathlons and things like that.
I was going to say, I haven't done a marathon.
Feel like it could have been an ultra. Like, you would probably feel like every day you ran an ultra. Because I hung out with the leader's nieces, and I'm not going to lie, I was more tired after hanging out with them, and I'm like, just bottle that energy up, please, because like I have a lot of energy and I was knackered.
Just plug it in somewhere and just zap that energy.
Like a little power pack.
I just don't get it. We were up at 5:30 this morning in the swag because the sun came up, and then by 6:30 I was in the bloody pool. It was freezing. Like, we only lasted for like 10 minutes, but they're like, it's time to go in the pool. Let's go. It's quick. I'm just like, can I have a coffee? Can I have some breakfast? And I'm like, no. The sun's up. We got to go. Like, I can't.
Is their coffee.
I just can't. It's next
level. I feel you. My son's usually up at the crack of dawn, which is around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning here. So he goes and wakes my mum up, not me, which mum gets pretty cranky about. But
half a rooster. So if you could talk to yourself prior to surgery with, before you went through this whole process, would there be anything, like what would be the best piece of advice you'd give to yourself?
I think maybe ask more questions to surgeon, potentially get a CT or like an MRI just to see where I was at internally, just to make sure everything was okay, I guess, in a sense. That way we knew going into surgery that, okay, we have a partially non-rotated small bowel, we're going to do this and see if it works.
Yeah, that's really hard. That's a really big what's if. I think the thing to take from that is ask more questions. I think that's a really good thing, I think sometimes we do go into this thinking, but it's only, 1%, 99% chance.
It's just the 1%. And that's what I keep saying. It's just that 1%.
I know. Yeah.
And I actually said that too when because my mum came into every single one of my appointments with my surgeon prior to surgery, and we both left being like, it's 1%. And I didn't feel nervous or anything going into surgery because in the back of my head, I was like, exactly, it's their job. They do this day in, day out. It's 1% of people that it happens to.
It's memory for them. They like my Toowoomba surgeon goes to the other private hospital in Toowoomba and uses the robot to do bariatric surgery. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have surgeon hands. That's what their job is. They specialize in this area, so they know what they're doing and where they should fiddle and where they shouldn't fiddle and things like that.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, unfortunately, it just comes down to being...
Well, it's statistics.
Yeah.
You know, as much as you want to be one in a million that wins a lotto, you know, unfortunately, you could be that 1 out of 1,000 that get hit by a car, or 1 out of 100 that has complications after bariatric surgery. Like, you can be that 1%, but you can't. I guess you can't live your life
around it.
Yeah, and avoiding that 1%. Unfortunately, because you need to just carry on with life without worrying about statistics all the time.
And I guess the big question is, despite the fact that you've had these complications, do you regret the fact of having bariatric
not
surgery?
At all. No. And my dad's going for bariatric surgery this year, so no. I'm positive. I'm a positive supporter for people to do it. You know, it benefits your life so much.
Yeah. Are you on a commission, by the way?
Yeah.
Your dad, your mum? I hope you're getting a kickback with this because, like...
I know, right? I need some money out of this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. I think my brother was considering it, but he's all right at the moment. I think he's just planning on working for a while just to catch up on things, and that'll help him out. But, yeah, like, you know, it's a family affair at the moment.
And unfortunately, when you said brother then, because it is one of completely a little bit off sideline, but my little brother, he's 19 now. He's you know, he's a bigger guy. And his thing is he doesn't want to try to lose weight because he's like, well, I'll just have weight loss surgery. You know, unfortunately, because I've succeeded so well at weight loss surgery, you know, and so far, you know, he looks at that and says, oh, I won't even bother.
Bro did it, I'll do it
you know,
too.
But I want to say to him, I feel like you definitely need to fail a few times naturally to really take advantage of weight loss surgery. That's really hard to get that message across to him because I'm one, I don't want to ever force it upon someone, and I'm very conscious of not making him feel uncomfortable about it.
Yeah.
Because I already know he knows, you know. I knew.
When you're 7'2" and as you know, built like a house, I'm pretty sure he knows that he needs to do something about it. But
exactly right. My brother's like over 6 foot. He's like 6'1", 6'2", and he's built like a brick house too. So you know they're aware of it. It's just are they that self-conscious that they want to fix it, or are they okay with themselves at the moment? That's the question they've got to ask themselves.
And you got to remember too, like I remember back when I was overweight, my mum, she mentioned it from the bottom of her heart, but she would always be like, you should go for a walk this afternoon, or you should, why are you eating this? You should eat that instead. And obviously because they were trying to be supportive, but that's not, for me, that wasn't the way to support me. Like I know that I had to lose weight. I knew that.
Definitely.
But you don't sit there and like, essentially she was rubbing salt into the injury of just being like, you know, it's the same as when you say to people, oh, I had weight loss surgery. And they're like, oh, why didn't you just go to the gym a few times a week? It's like, well, come on.
I know. It frustrates the crap out of me when people do that. And then people are very anti-weight loss surgery.
Oh, yeah. Stigma behind weight loss surgery is real, yeah.
I'm sure we could all just get our backs up on the what ifs of people if they just really just stopped and looked at the real picture and why we actually went for the procedure in the first place.
That's it.
Yep.
If you could draw them a picture of your whole life and everything you've gone through and every little twist and turn, I think they'd be like, or like played out in their head, they'd be like, oh, I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. You know.
And
you could probably write a book.
Yeah.
A few of my friends, you know, they've seen me, they obviously saw me struggle because they've been around from the very beginning of it. And one of them who I've just reconnected again now because we both have this love for running. But I bumped into her at Parkrun maybe about a year and a half ago, and she almost hit the deck because she was like, oh my God, like whatever you've done has finally worked. Because we used to do F45 together twice a day for like a year. And she was like, you used to struggle so hard and it used to break my heart that like, you know, you would put in the effort, but you just didn't get anywhere. And so it was actually really nice to hear it from the other perspective, so to speak. Like, so she was kind of like, oh my God, whatever you've done this time, regardless of what it is, you've actually done it. And she was just like, it was amazing. It was actually really nice.
So what is it?
Nice. It's still good.
Yeah.
What's next for Tilly? What is, let's say, we'll give you a time. Let's say, what's next for Tilly in the next 2 years?
Hopefully nursing rurally or nursing fetal. I want to specialise in bariatrics as a nurse, which is very, very, very specialised area. And you've got to learn a lot and be a nurse for a long time. But I'm also thinking, you know, I want to be a paramedicine rurally as well. So I might go do my bachelor's of paramedicine. Like I am, knowledge-wise, I want to get more education around things. And I think bariatrics is one of those areas that I want to get more education. Even though I've got it from both sides, I don't have it clinically as much as what I would like to have it. Like, I would like to specialise in bariatrics, I think, just to become an advocate for people going into weight loss surgery.
So it's very career driven for the next couple of years. Is there any
Definitely.
personal goals, like anything outside of work that you're kind of working towards?
Well, I don't have a love life to talk of. I don't have friends. I only have one friend who stuck with me throughout this whole thing, and she's in Brisbane, and I just love to go and see her and give her a bunch of flowers and vegan food because she's vegan, and just say thank you for the support that you've given, because, you know, she was a rock. Like my parents were my rock. She was also a rock. So I'd love to just, you know, socialise a bit more and meet more people in the community, weight loss and non-weight loss, you know, try and get a love life or something.
Well, there is guys in the weight loss community. There's more and more popping up. So, you know, guys.
Yeah, but in my age range though, but I'm kind of not an old fella kind of person. Need a young person. Yeah.
We'll put it out there to the Barry community. If you're in Brisbane area and you want to reach out to Tilly to be a friend, to be an acquaintance, to be the
But
next...
like, I'd love to, like, the Christmas party that you guys host. I'd love to come to one. I would love to do one.
There's heaps of them popping up. Yeah, we'll make sure that we keep you in.
Other ones. So
there's only happening in Byron, I think, in February, provided that all of the...
Byron, of all places.
Byron's beautiful. We did it last year. A few of the girls down that way organise it, and it's, you know, there's a, you know, we go for the walk to the lighthouse. There's a distillery out there as well, and we all just stay at a big caravan park. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I think that's happening at the end of Feb, so we'll shoot you the details for that one as well. But there's so many
like,
meetups
if you see
around.
that we're somewhere, come join us. Like, if you're over on the Sunshine Coast, you want to come for a walk, you want to
climb Mount Cool.
You know, we're always here. We're always keen. I live an open life, is what I say. My door's always open. Open life, not a door.
Morphia, so yeah. It used to be around that neck of the woods, so it'd be good to hit you up for a park run.
Definitely.
Hey.
There we go.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Once I'm better, but yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Well, Tilly, I do appreciate you actually taking the time to sit down with us. I learn a lot then. Like, I actually do. I learn a lot from you, and I feel like I could learn a lot more. So, and I'm sure a lot of people are sitting out there. I was going to say,
are you open? Sorry to cut you off. Are you open to? I do that so often. Oh my god! I thought I'd gotten over that by now, but no, I still do it. Shut up, Shannon. I want to talk. Are you open to people reaching out to you and chatting to you and asking you questions about everything? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ask away. You know, the more you're educated, the more more knowledge you're going to have in your brain.
Knowledge is power.
And I must just say as well, there's so much more to Tilly than just what you're going through as well. So, like, you know.
Well, let's hope in 2 weeks I'm tube-free. I'll definitely put it out to the world that if it is happening or not. It'll depend on my surgeon.
I think you're rocking it. Not going to lie. I like it. I feel like, you know.
I haven't got a name for this one. I've named all the other ones, but I actually have never named this dude.
We'll call it Trevor.
That's a good thing.
Trevor.
Actually, Trevor, yes.
Trevor the Tube.
I do like Trevor.
Trevor the Tube.
Yeah.
Patricia and Trevor.
Yeah.
There you
go. Goes hand in hand.
Goes hand in hand. Well, yeah, I guess that's about it. We'll wrap up our...
I'd love to touch base again, maybe sort of towards the end of the year, and just sort of see where you're at and what's going on.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. I'm open whenever. You've got my number.
Well, that's it. It's just going to be. We've got a new co-host. Tilly's joining us from now on.
Okay, cool. That sounds good.
Okay. Thank you, Tilly. Thank you for sitting down with us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Now that's another episode of Barry Banter.
Thank you. Have a good evening, guys.
You too. Well, yes, that is another episode of Barry Banter in the books. We hope you got a little something from that one.
Head on over to Facebook or Instagram and check us out, or go to baribanter.com where you can watch past episodes, give us feedback, and let us know who you want to hear from next.
We love you all, and as always, please stay beautiful.